Hey, I'm Di McQueen, licensed clinical social worker, family and addiction expert. I'm here with Dr. Brian Jackson, my longtime cohort who specializes in the field of addiction. Welcome to Healing Families Shattered by Addiction.
Di and I have worked with addicts, alcoholics, and their families for over 30 years combined. Our podcast and coaching programs focus on families who have a loved one suffering from addiction. Our experience has been that this disease affects families as much, if not more, than the addict or alcoholic.
Is your world spinning out of control? Are you codependent? Are you experiencing worry, loss of sleep, and difficulty concentrating? If so, you're in the right place. Brian and I have both personally lived it, learned it, and now we're going to teach you tools and techniques on how to get your life back that you thought was shattered by addiction.
Okay, let's dive in.
Hey everybody, welcome to Healing Families Shattered by Addiction. I'm Di McQueen and I'm joined today with my lovely partner in crime, Dr. Brian Jackson. Hey B, it's been a little while. How are you, my friend?
Good, Di. Good to be with you this morning on this beautiful, beautiful day outside. Looks like
Yeah, I agree.
for September. In September in Florida, it's
I
not
know.
120 degrees, right?
That humidity broke. Yoo-hoo! It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's really nice. So today we thought, Brian and I thought we'd talk about, September is recognized as National Recovery Month. And this was established back in 1989 by Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, SAMHSA, to promote evidence-based treatment and recovery practices. Each year it has a theme. For example, resilience, connection, hope, etc., to celebrate people in recovery from substance use or mental health issues. So this year, the theme is called Recovery is Real, and that is restoring every aspect of life. The theme emphasizes that recovery just isn't about the absence of substance use, but more about restoring health, home, community, and purpose. So we thought we'd just kind of buzz through what do those four words mean? Real is great, restoring every aspect of life. But what do we mean by restoring your health, your home, your community, and your purpose? So B, I thought we'd maybe just tackle a little bit of that together and help people understand what goes on when you're using and abusing, and if you're not paying attention to your mental health, and how all these things kind of go by the wayside and what we can do to kind of bring them back into focus. So I'm gonna let you take it, at the home from a health perspective.
Yeah. September, having this, it highlights the benefit of prevention and treatment, by designating a month, for recovery. And behind that too is to reduce the stigma around addiction and mental health challenges. So, this real thing, or the word this year, real, is to promote the resources available for individuals and families, through that theme. And so it's real important to focus on some of the things that are a benefit of recovery, of not, using substances. And one is health. It's obvious, but for people that experience it, once they stop abusing drugs, it's interesting to hear the benefits that they, say to us. And certainly, I experience this too, the ability to sleep better. Now you're getting good REM sleep. Before, basically, you weren't getting good sleep. If you drank too much, there's a lot of sugar in alcohol. And, your body would crave the alcohol and wake you up. So if you think about drinking a lot, not sleeping well, and then you get up, stressors are way more pronounced. So if you stop drinking, and you start getting good REM sleep, obviously you have more energy, you're better able to handle stressors that were way more pronounced when you weren't sleeping, and your energy level goes up. So, a lot of times what we'll see is people returning to things that went by the wayside that they enjoyed doing, be it swimming, be it golfing, playing tennis, walking, running, whatever. As their disease progressed, a lot of those things went by the wayside. Now they get healthy, and they have things that they enjoy, and they get back to doing that. And there's a lot of research now that we see that, um, depression and anxiety and things of that nature, the number one cure for it is exercise. It more than, medication assisted treatment in terms of like antidepressants. So um, it's just real important to know that exercise is a key part of feeling better, both physically and mentally, which then dovetails into how we are emotionally. Um, Anything for you that improves, that you notice that improves physical or mental health?
Well, absolutely. I think the things that you mentioned for sure. Number one, obviously being sleep. What there's so many studies on it now, but the way that we eat as well. When we're in our addiction, um, I know for myself, I would grab junk food, whatever I could find, lots of sugar, lots of sugar. Not to say that I never do that today, but I would say that I'm much more conscientious of what's going in my body and, trying to take care of those things. I mean, I think we hear it both all the time, that when someone is um, in that state of mind, they start neglecting all their dental and eyeglass and medical doctor appointments, and they just seem to slip through the cracks. And time goes by years. People, how many times have we seen people and haven't had a physical in years? So one of the things we encourage is to go take care of your physical health, and a lot of other things come into play when you just realize maybe your cholesterol's high, or maybe you have a thyroid problem or something that can be easily remedied, that people are so afraid of when they're in their addiction. And of course the mindset is, if I just ignore it, it will go away, and we know that's not true. So, by just getting some education around these things and starting to do those annual, physical mammograms, x-rays, that kind of thing that, normally people do, getting your teeth cleaned a couple times a year, etc. Boy, what a difference it makes on all of that stuff. So, yeah, I mean, I think those are a few things that come to mind, for me. Um, and just playing
Yeah,
a
it's
little bit.
interesting, and that's fun to watch too. People starting to take care of themselves.
Oh yeah,
All of a sudden, they are going to the doctor, and a lot of times too, there's a lot of anxiety around. Like once you get sober, it's like, oh my goodness, what have I done to myself? Are there things wrong? And convince people that, hey, let's get to the doctor. Let's find out if there's something wrong. If there is, then we can, the doctor will address it. Uh, if not, cool, and you'll have a lot of peace of mind of not worrying about, you know, all the potential things that could have happened. And so,
totally.
and then the dentist, they love to see us coming because we've neglected our teeth or whatever. Uh, but again,
Lots of money, right?
yeah, lots of money for kids through college for the dentist. But um, we get sober. We're not wasting money on drugs and alcohol, and so I think it's important to, um, take those resources and spend them on yourself. And take care of yourself. So, good teeth, taking your medications or taking care of yourself and exercising and doing whatever you need to treat any underlying conditions is real important. And then, we start talking about home life and how that changes and how that improves. Um, you know, uh, it's just so important that now you're in the safe, hopefully stable housing and recovery. And the people that are living with you now feel safer, less anxious, more at ease. That you're more consistent. You're consistently consistent as opposed to all over the place back when you were struggling with addiction. Um, so there's other resources too that if, for instance, you don't have a residence or a place to go right away, um, there's different places for sober living support. I know here in St. Augustine or Jacksonville, Di, you were talking about a place at Trinity, was it that
Yeah,
just
there's a new
opened up?
place that just opened up called Comeback Recovery Homes in the St. Augustine area. Of course, there's the Oxford House. There's Alco up in Jacksonville, and Transition. There's transitional homes up there. Tradition House. Um, there's quite a few in the local area now where, and some of them are for men, some of them are for men and women, but there's sober living environments all over. And sometimes that's a really good place to start, where you have other people trying to do that as well, but it's still community, for you, and just trying to get yourself back together. There's also the same for, long-term, mental health issues where someone doesn't want to be institutionalized but could use that extra support. So that's a really big one, just the fact that I think a lot of people are opening up, their ability to have a place to start is a really wonderful thing. And most people are willing to do that if someone is willing to do the work they need to stay sober or, mentally sound. So I think that's important too.
Yeah, and so the home is really the foundation for recovery. It's kind of your home base.
Sure
And
is.
here we are in Jacksonville, St. Augustine, and I just, listed off several places that are available for people in recovery that are looking for sober living in a sober community. So in your neighborhood, wherever you are,
Yep.
whatever state or city you're in, you can just Google or yeah, I guess Google is where you look up things these days, or Chat
Chat
GPT.
GPT, right?
Right. Uh, you know,
Or even
try and
ask one of your community, one of the community
sure.
recovery centers, and I'm sure that they've got some recommendations in their local area for that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so there should be plenty of resources wherever you are. And then also too, if you're the person that's coming out of, maybe an inpatient treatment facility, kind of concerned about being around back in your neighborhood and being around people, places, and things that might trigger you to return to using. This sober living is a great support place to learn how to live kind of on your own, but with people at the same time, and kind of get traction and get your feet underneath you and get a taste and share experiences of other people who are in the same spot, trying to transition, if you will, back into the stream of life. So I think that's very important that that resource is there for you. Um, we noticed too that this September celebrating recovery, there's a whole lot of different activities that are going on in different communities. Some people are having runs and walks and maybe a band thing where they get together and celebrate recovery. Um, I was noticing that there's now these places that serve mocktails. There's no more alcohol, and one of their things was celebrate recovery month and come to
Yep.
uh, a mocktail event, uh, where you can be around other people and and live life without drinking booze or doing whatever you're doing.
That's right. And there's been a lot of those, and that's a wonderful thing. In addition to that, though, there's the, AA and NA and CA and all the other A's have been having, their own set of sober parties and, to celebrate this month. We know that there's places like Celebrate Recovery, Smart Recovery, so there's lots of opportunities for community when you feel like, I don't really know where to start. That's a great place to start. It's a great place to start and maybe to land. I mean, we sure have. We've been there a long time. So I go, but those things are important. You need community. It's very, very important to have other people that have had these struggles, before you, and as well, they can give you, hope that there's an opportunity that if you stick with it and listen to suggestions and get involved and enjoy, what recovery has to offer, that you will be successful as well. I think that that's a really important part of it. I think one of the biggest and most important parts of recovery is that you need a community, and you probably need someone to talk to. There's nothing wrong with having a coach or a sober coach or a therapist or a counselor or whatever it is that you think you need to do to have an opportunity to maybe get a little bit more intimate with some of the really difficult things that you need to share that maybe you're not quite ready to do in an open forum. But I think those things are very important, and they make a big difference when we hear success stories and including our own, a lot of that has to do with the fact that we have a community of people that we can talk to and be around that understand what we've gone through and how we, how we've progressed over the years and encourage us to move forward in a positive way. So I
Yeah, so
think that,
big part of it though, Di, is I guess like breaking the stigma
sure.
surrounding addiction or um, mental health issues. So, a big part of it is sharing your story, and you may not have to share your story, but by being at these functions,
Yep.
by being at these get-togethers, by attending an AA meeting or Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous or Cocaine Anonymous, whichever one where there's a sense of community where you're not terminally unique, where you feel like you're a part of the solution rather than the problem. Um, I love speaker meetings, whether it's male, female, younger, older. There's always some nugget in there in somebody's story that I can relate to. Um, and especially, we can all relate to, what it was like in terms of consequences. But it's always interesting to hear what happened, why people decided to make the change in lifestyle and what their life is like now. It really gives me goosebumps when I hear people talking about how wonderful their life is now, that it's second to none, that they never knew that this type of life existed. And, these are people speaking from the heart. They're speaking the truth. Um, so it's not like a football rally. It's
It,
real life, real
yeah.
stuff. And it's very touching and it's very, very encouraging, I think, to everybody who's new to recovery to hear from people that have been down the road and there's been some major changes in their life to the good as opposed to when we were using, and there were always consequences that were not fun. So
Exactly, which is, brings you into then, leads you right into that path of why we all have a purpose in life, right? And I think it's so important for part of the reason why a lot of people drift away is that they don't really know what their purpose is or feel like there is a purpose. And, when you hear people talk about their story of going back to work after years of not being at work or getting involved in community events or volunteer activities, you see them start to shine. And it's just such a powerful uh, tool. I mean, it just is such an amazing thing. And we see it all the time when we see people who are like, hunched over, their, head is hanging low. Uh, they look forlorn. They're just kind of a mess. And when they come in and there's this big old smile and, their skin is glowing again and we don't have all kinds of pock marks and weathered looking, and you see this, it's just such a beautiful thing to see. And it's just really exciting. I know both of us always get such joy out of seeing people come back to life. I mean, I'm so thrilled to hear that like this is the first time in decades where alcohol rates are going down. The amount of alcohol being consumed is going down. That's exciting. Unfortunately, we're not quite so good on the opioid and drug use at this point in time, but we know that there's hope for that as well. And I see that people are starting to awaken to the fact that these things are very harmful to us, and that we see a longer term sustainability in recovery. We know factually that there are, when people get involved, their ability to stay in remission is much, much greater.
yeah, and so our mantra always is, hey, we want you to get well, but we want you to stay well. So
Right.
that's the challenge. And so, the things that this recovery month encourages is being involved. So how do you stay well? Well, you stay around the program. You stay around people who are embracing recovery and this new way of life, and they're excited about it. And you know, uh, I think when we initially start, it's like, oh my God, what is my life going to be like? Because we relate so much to how we feel, even though it's uncomfortable when we were using. And now we really have to figure out how to turn things around. And the quickest way to do that is by action and by being around like-minded people and people who are embracing this new lifestyle. And so I'm glad that, that this September month of recovery is there. It's just pointing it out like, hey, there's no stigma associated with this. Don't you want to live healthy? Don't you want to live a good lifestyle? Don't you want your family and your kids to, uh, be at ease and be comfortable around you, and and taking care of your health and taking care of your teeth and exercising and all that stuff. I mean, it sounds so much more healthy than the way we were living. And, certainly, Di and I can relate to what it was like and what it's like now. So much better.
Absolutely. Much better. I wouldn't go back there for the world, in all of those aspects. So we're thrilled to be able to be a part of the National Recovery Month. And recovery is real. Recovery is real. We believe that. We've seen it. We live it. And now we teach it to you. So
Yeah,
thanks so
I like
much.
it.
Thanks so much for joining me on this one, B. And we're restoring every aspect of our life on a daily basis as well. But recovery is real. So we're going to keep doing it. We're going to keep doing
Yeah,
it.
and we're always here as a resource for you. You can go to familyandaddictionexperts.com. You can schedule on the calendar a time that's convenient for you, where there's a hole in our schedule that we can meet and chat about what's going on with you and see if we can be of assistance. Also, if you have any questions for us, you can go to info@familyandaddictionexperts.com and shoot us a question, and we will get back to you. We also have a family survival kit on the website. There's PDF files in there that are no charge to you, that can be another resource to help you with recovery and getting real, being real, real.
And staying real. All right,
There
my
you go.
real friend.
All right.
You
All
have a
right.
great day. And
You
thanks
too.
for joining me on this one.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much for joining our podcast, Healing Families Shattered by Addiction. We'll be back in a couple of weeks with more important tools, techniques, and ways for you to focus on you instead of the alcoholic or addict in your world.
Until then, please go to our website, familyandaddictionexperts.com. That's familyandaddictionexperts.com. You'll also see links to our Facebook and Instagram pages. Please also, if you have any emails that you would like to send us, that's info@familyandaddictionexperts.com. That's info@familyandaddictionexperts.com. With any thoughts, feelings, questions that you may have for us, we would love to hear from you, and we look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks.